The global energy transition has intensified the demand for critical minerals, driving immense capital requirements in the mining sector.
Central Asia, with its vast natural resources, strategic geographic position, and evolving economic landscape, presents a compelling yet complex investment frontier.
When risk is well managed and returns are attractive, Central Asia's mining value chain, ranging from greenfield exploration to brownfield expansions, downstream processing and infrastructure build-out, can deliver highly profitable and strategically significant outcomes.
This session will explore innovative financing approaches, partnerships and structures that can unlock the region's potential and support the development of resilient, future-ready mining and infrastructure projects.
Excellent. Welcome everyone to the next session. You're now going to have two sessions that are focused on finance. The first will be the capital markets response to mining CapEx needs, and then we're going to look at project finance side. So there'll be a sort of quick change after the first 20 minutes. So for this panel, we've got two panelists. The first on my left is Ayuna, who was appointed head of Europe for the primary markets in 2018, but has been active for the London Stock Exchange covering the region and emerging markets generally since 2009. And Ayuna's worked on numerous IPOs and listings on the stock exchange from a wide range of sectors, including, most importantly, the mining sector. Then we should also have online, he said optimistically, well, we should be being joined online by Ainur Kapparova, who is the head of the new mining project management office at the Astana International Finance Centre. She has a background in banking and management consulting, having worked for companies such as McKinsey, and has a strategic advisory business which she co-founded, helping people operate in Kazakhstan and Central Asia generally. Hoping that she joins us shortly, we'll start with Ayuna. Excellent. So we'll so in terms of the capital markets response, I mean, at Simmons & Simmons, we're seeing that sort of despite a lot of the press around difficult capital markets, that actually the mining sector is sort of slightly differentiated in that and has been raising money and having quite a bit of activity, obviously driven by the underlying commodity prices, and also I think just generally the amount of publicity that critical minerals and sourcing and securing supply of critical minerals is getting globally. So over the last sort of 12 months or so since we all sort of sat here, we've seen a steady increase in activity for mining companies. We've seen fundraisers happen and happening regularly. We've seen the discounts that are applied on those fundraisings narrowing, and also finding that demand is sort of increasing and people are often upsizing the fundraisings when they're doing them. So I think it's a better time than it has been for a while on natural resources. And Ayuna, does that accord with what you're seeing generally at the London Stock Exchange?
Yes, thank you, Alexander, and hello to everyone. Thank you to MINEX for inviting me. Absolutely, I think we're seeing momentum overall across all sectors in terms of new IPOs and listings. You know, only in the past 3 months we've had 4 new listings and IPOs on the London Stock Exchange. But focusing specifically on mining, metals, and energy. One of the key listings that we've seen was by Metlen, which is a European but also headquartered in Greece. It's an energy company, but also Metlen has a significant metals production, so aluminium and bauxite, aluminium ore. So that's really interesting. Valterra Premium, which is a massive company, Valterra Platinum, they did a dual listing in London as well earlier this year. Interestingly, while the IPO activity was focused maybe outside the Central Asia, or within Eurasia, but outside of Central Asia. From Central Asia, we have seen a number of big Eurobond listings. So, for example, Navoy Iran just recently listed a 300 million US dollar bond at 6.7 interest or yield, and BB minus, the credit rating that they had. But what's key is that the demand, it was 4.3 times oversubscribed. So demand was very high, and that's uranium. And we have heard during the previous discussions and presentations that uranium, of course, is critical globally. Another really interesting issuance out of Central Asia, again out of Uzbekistan, was so far this year second Eurobond placement by Navoy Gold, which is the leading gold producer in Uzbekistan, number 4 in the world, and they raised $500 million on top of the $1 billion that they raised in November last year, again at a very, very good rate, and also, multiple times oversubscribed. So while for IPOs, the risk appetite, it's still pretty cautious, although it's, much more positive than it was maybe at the beginning of the year. The bond market remains really vibrant, and the yields are there, and the risk appetite is there, especially for the, key commodities such as gold.
Yeah, okay, great, thanks. And Ainur, does this sort of accord with what you're seeing in Astana?
Yes. Hello, everyone. Thank you for your question. So my answer is no. So we definitely do not have as much activity on the Astana International Exchange or the Almaty counterpart, another exchange in Kazakhstan called the KASE, K-A-S-A-E, unfortunately. However, we are seeing some activity starting to happen in the metals and mining sector under local exchanges, which is uplifting. Traditionally, in general, not just metals and mining, but majority of Kazakhstan's big IPOs, they have taken place, in London and Hong Kong, and much less on the local exchanges. When it comes to the metals and mining sector, that number is significantly less. Specifically on the Astana International Exchange, which is part of the Astana International Financial Center where I work. This year, we had only 2 listings. So one of them was a listing of the Jiaxin International Resources Investment. It's a Chinese company that operates an exploration stage tungsten asset here in Kazakhstan called Jetsu Wolfram. So they have completed recently a dual listing here on the Astana International Exchange and on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. The listing was quite a success. It was oversubscribed by 200 times. However, the majority of the book building, it took place in Hong Kong. Another metals and mining listing that we had was actually a London company called the Eurasian Eurasian Mining PLC. They have completed a cross listing, but their main exchange remains the London Stock Exchange. As the head of the Mining Finance Project Management Office, which is new here at AIFC, and that has been created in recognition of the growing importance of the metals and mining sector here in Kazakhstan, and the financing and capital markets gaps in the sector. So as head of this office, I am really keen on having more local listings take place. And something that I want to share with you is my experience this year with two local junior mining companies that have expressed an appetite to list on our local stock exchange. I have introduced these companies to our stock exchange. The stock exchange was happy to welcome them. Both of these companies are already listed on major global stock exchanges, and they were ready, willing, and able to list here locally. So after their statement of desire, the next step was to help them find a local underwriter who was willing to work with them. And the experience that I had is that I spoke to all the major underwriters based here in Kazakhstan, and unfortunately, the majority of these underwriters, actually all of them, were not willing to take on the risk associated with these exploration stage companies. For them, exploration stage companies, as long as it's not a producing asset, is a greenfield project, and they were afraid to take on the risk with a greenfield project like that. I think it's very unfortunate because there's definitely appetite here in the market. I know that from my personal network. I know that a lot of local high net worth individuals are expressing appetite and actually writing checks and even buying shares of certain companies through international exchanges. However, because the practice in Kazakhstan of investing in exploration stage mining assets is not yet widely known, widely popular, it's not fashionable yet as it is with IT. Unfortunately, I have faced this difficulty when I was speaking with local underwriters, and both of these companies they didn't list locally yet.
So I think the question I have from that is, the companies that you are seeing listing in Astana, what's the sort of main purpose of the listing? Because I don't think there's a sort of regulatory requirement to list. So the companies are sort of choosing to have a listing there. So what's the main motivator, do you think, for that?
I think that both of these companies, they have cross-listed mainly, and it's just I cannot speak for them, but my guess would be, access to local markets, to local investors. The market may not be extremely deep, but it is there, as I was saying, and also maybe like a statement of commitment to Kazakhstan of some sort. That would be my guess.
Great. And I think the other theme I'd like to pick up from what you just said there is sort of the junior miners more generally. Because obviously in the London Stock Exchange, you have the AIM market for sort of smaller growth companies. And then I think there's activity, as you say, in Astana in relation to that. But maybe Ayuna first, can you comment on sort of what you see as the market for the more junior companies?
Yes, and I'd like to agree with Ainur. I think the appetite for exploration stage or sort of greenfield type project is quite low. So the investors, international investors, tend to be more interested in more developed projects or the projects which are close to completion, or, for example, they already have contracts that are in place that are guaranteed, so that you can project the revenue growth and understand what the scale of the business is going to be like, because ultimately they're after returns. So when there is just sort of a license in place and the potential plans to build, and there is no clarity, then of course it becomes much riskier for investors. Having said that, when a small company, already at the stage where they have contracts, etc., that's when they would tap a smaller market. So AIM is an LSE regulated market on the London Stock Exchange. It's a junior market, and it was designed, it's already 30 years old. It was designed to support small and medium-sized businesses that are riskier, but ultimately, bring more return to investors. However, over time, I think we we have seen the convergence of the, it's designed to be cheaper, easier, but convergence of the sort of requirement and the way it was regulating, the way nomads, the nominated advisors who are licensed by AIM, were conducting checks, that it was starting to edge closer to the main market. So we've gone through a massive exercise, actually, the big AIM consultation paper, and we actually published the results of this consultation just last week. And this restated the purpose, that it needs to be the requirements need to be very proportionate. They do not need to be onerous. It needs to be on the basis of understanding that those small companies don't have the resources and either monetary or people resources to comply with onerous regulations. So we restated it, meaning that investors investing with earlier stage projects, junior mining projects, will have to come into the market understanding that they can't demand, the same things that they demand with bigger, more established companies in the market. So I think that's the key thing. And we were speaking to nominated advisors, also asking them to understand that, and also not to require, so many checks on our behalf. And then obviously consultation with investors. And I think that will help us continue supporting the junior, small, medium-sized business, including junior miners.
Because I think London has been quite good traditionally in supporting some early stage development.
Exactly.
Typically,
Yeah.
it only gets the support when there's an established management team behind it that maybe investors have had success backing in the past. But I think there is still some room for some.
You're absolutely right. The key thing is that what we've stated in this published document was that investors need to understand that they're investing in people, in the management, right? Ultimately, if you trust the people, then they, you can see that they will finish the project and see through the implementation.
And I think there's initiatives in Astana in relation to junior companies. I think you mentioned something about there being an accelerator program that you've launched.
Yes, thank you for the question. Just to step back, quick remark on exploration stage projects and exploration generally in Kazakhstan, perhaps for those who are not very familiar with the mining landscape. So Kazakhstan is very well endowed. This is widely known with a lot of different metals and a lot of the metals that are on the critical minerals lists across various countries. However, the country is still tremendously underexplored. The last large exploration programs that took place in Kazakhstan were actually during the Soviet times. Those exploration results, as I know from my network of mining professionals, they tend to be quite not good, but they tend to be a good base. A lot of foreign companies do look at them. However, there's more exploration that needs to be done. The country has liberalized its mining code to basically all applications for licenses. Hello?
We've got you back, I think, but we lost you a little bit there.
Yeah, sorry. So I was saying that the licensing process in Kazakhstan has been liberalized in 2018. We are seeing a lot of foreign capital coming in, foreign strategics applying for licenses, doing exploration. However, there's still much more opportunity to make discoveries. So if we speak in terms of financing and capital gaps, the biggest gap, in my opinion, lies in the exploration stage mining projects. So this is where I see a lot of local junior miners struggle. They need capital in order to get to pre-feas or feasibility study stage. And a lot of them need capital to get to a stage where they can verify a resource according to an international or local standard, at least. For example, in order to list on the Astana International Exchange, companies need to have a JORC or NI 43101 or the Kazakh equivalent, KazRC report with measured resources or proven reserves in order to list. However, a lot of companies can get to that stage. So after my experience with the 2 junior miners, which I mentioned, I have realized that there needs to be a platform that can match early stage mining projects with investors, both strategics and financials, who look at these stage assets. So that's how the idea of that mining platform came about, and eventually perhaps it can be an accelerator program that will help local junior miners to get to a better state. The program hasn't been launched yet, so right now it's in its concept phase. However, we will keep you posted.
Great, thank you. And I think just before we sort of finish, personally, I feel quite optimistic about 2026 and what it can bring for mining companies, particularly those focused on gold and strategic minerals and uranium. But welcome both your sort of observations, guessing that you probably have conversations with companies perhaps at an earlier stage than us.
Yes, I think the outlook for 26 is positive, but we said that at the end of 2024, and then there was lots of volatility. So I'll just caveat that, we hope that there will be no new wars starting and things like that. But a lot of this volatility, the market has already absorbed, so it's already been priced in the market. So we're seeing even with big shocks, market recovers very quickly. There was this AI bubble fear, the market recovered quickly. Then peace negotiations up and down, and then it's fine. Defense stocks were up and down, well, primarily up, but there was a minor correction. So markets are now much more agile. It's not going to be a shutdown, so that's fine. Second trend that I'm seeing, very, very, very big pipeline across all sectors. But interestingly, and I think someone mentioned it at the one of the previous, a lot of companies that have listed this year are in the energy sector, and we have even more in the pipeline for next year. And that is driven by the AI demands, right? So they need energy. Renewable energy, any type of energy basically is very interesting. Conglomerates, so where it's energy and mining, like Metlen. So companies that are doing both, I think there are a lot of synergies. So that's really good. Obviously, critical minerals will be on the rise, and then huge interest in rare earths, as we know, but also the key commodities such as gold, precious metals, and so on. So definitely really good pipeline out of Central Asia. More Central Asian companies will be doing Eurobond or debt capital raisings, and we just hope that it will all materialize.
Great. Well, thank you. I'm afraid that's it in terms of the time, because I don't want to eat into the next part of the panel, which is focusing very much on project finance. If they'd like to sort of come up now, but Ainur and Anya, thank you very much for your contributions.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.